After running power supplies under Labview in the last video, let's see what's going on behind the scenes, what is behind the user interface. For that, let's open the block diagram, where is the program itself. That's Control E, opens it. Let's click Window and tile up and down, so we can see both instruments at the same time, both editors. So in the block diagram, there is represented all the interface that we can see on the front panel. So before getting into building new instruments or new functions, new functionalities, it's good to understand how the block diagram works. We have here, for instance, a big rectangle in gray. This represents a while loop, and what is inside it will repeat its function until the determined condition is reached. In this case, or the stop button, which is represented here, double click on stop in the block diagram and it highlights it on front panel, or an error happens. Those two conditions can stop the instrument from running. And what does it need to initialize the program? It needs to receive a device name or a serial number of the analog discovery connected to the USB connector. Double click will show where we can input this expected variable. And what is going to receive it? Okay, this input is a parameter for a function, but the function in Labview are blocks. In this case, this block is the WFPWS. So let's right click and click on help. This is the power supply instrument, but it's the initialize part. And here it shows the inputs it needs, and on the right side it represents the outputs. So in bold there's a device name, so it must be received, and there is the whole description of the parameters and the output, and with that we can build blocks and use the outputs and create other instruments. So now how does the data flows here in this block diagram? To see that, let's click in the bulb until it's highlighted, and then clicking in run, we can see that it's colored and showing where does the data flow. And when I hit the button stop, then it stops executing. Let's try stop here. Pause and stop. Okay, stop the application. Let's take a look at other functions within the block diagram. Inside the while loop, there is this first function, and it receives some inputs and gives some outputs. But where are they? Let's see, help. Right, this is the configure voltage output. So I receive a instrument handling, which is the instrument to be pointed to be used, because I can use multiple instruments. So this is the serial number of the instrument, the channel, and here there's a description for analog discovery 2, which we are using. There is the PS, which is power supply, plus 5, and power supply minus 5. This one we opened is the PS plus 5. This is the channel we're using. So in the positive power supply, something is going to happen. And what is it? Voltage level. Let's apply a voltage level, which is represented by this block, which is an input in the front panel. So let's run the project. We can run, enable, master enable, and the simulation shows the program flow. And then if we change the input, the +5 supply to 3, and then it must change also here. But let's wait for the next iteration. Now it's 3. And then in the output pin of the analog discovery 2, the V plus pin will have 3 volts at its output. So what we've done here can be followed for the other functions in order to find how to integrate Labview and use it more freely, the analog discovery together. And also, when clicking the block diagram, the pop-up that opens show all instruments and functions. In measurements I/O, we can find Digilent WF, Digilent waveform, and then there are the instruments, power supply, function generator, and digital. If we open power supply, there are all the functions that are used here: the initialization, the voltage, the enable, which is here, and we use one master enable input, and there is the configuration set, which we opened before, and other functions. The same happens for the other instruments. And with this process, after some iterations and getting used to it, it's pretty easy to control the device and really flexible, because there are a lot of other functions like button inputs and many other graphical interface. It's possible to use graphics, and there's the search bar for graphics. And then I just click and drop, and then if I click help, there's the help for every function and what it does and what it doesn't.